Imagine selling 6 or even 7 figures of high-ticket product in a single day. That's what some businesses generate in an entire month or maybe even a year. But when you build your workshop the right way, you compress the entire sales cycle into a single room in a single day, with people asking to buy before you even make your pitch. We've had clients do 200K launches all the way up to multi-million-dollar days. So what's the difference between a workshop that prints revenue and money and one that falls flat? In this video, I'm going to walk you through the exact blueprint we use step by step to design, fill, and monetize a $1 million workshop. And if you're new to the channel, I'm Seth Ferguson. I scaled my event to become the largest in the country for my industry in just 2 years. I've hosted intimate workshops with 100 people, 500 people, all the way up to massive conferences with thousands of people in the audience. So why do you even want to run a live workshop in the first place? Well, the reason is, it is going to be the very best, most qualified audience you will ever be in front of. And the reason this is true is because of the intent matrix. So the intent matrix has 3 key components. Number 1 is time. So how much time has somebody invested to actually get themselves in that room? Compared to a virtual event where somebody just clicks a button and signs up, a live workshop, somebody has to take time away from work, time away from their family, time away from their hobbies. They have to travel, which is time. They've invested a lot of time just to show up. The second one is money. It's not a freebie event like a live webinar. Showing up to a live in-person workshop, somebody's invested money in the ticket, but also they've invested money into traveling, maybe a flight, maybe driving, the Ubers, hotel rooms, food and beverage while they're on the road. There's a lot of monetary investment that goes in, which means that the person is very qualified. They have shown that they're willing to spend money, put money on the table to solve their problem. And the third and most important piece of this is frame. How is this person thinking coming into your workshop? With a virtual event, some online thing, some free ebook, somebody's just dipping their toes in. They're just kind of curious. With an in-person workshop, a live workshop, somebody has invested time, they've invested money, and they're coming in actively searching, actively seeking a solution to a problem they have. This makes them a prime audience, the best audience ever to make your offer of, hey, I can solve this problem for you with my product or service, whatever high ticket program or service you're providing. This is why live workshops are the very best audience you will ever find yourselves in front of. Also, it is the best way to sell high ticket at scale, getting you away from those one-to-one sales conversations and getting you over to that one-to-many sales conversation. And if you've been selling high ticket for a while, you know that trust is a key factor in why people purchase and why they don't purchase. So let's say you're running your typical book a call funnel or some other type of funnel for your high ticket product or service. You know that one Zoom call is probably not enough, especially if you're getting into a high trust environment where you're offering a very expensive high ticket product or service. Maybe it's not, $997, maybe you're charging $20,000, $50,000, $100,000. You need more trust to exist in that relationship, and 45 minutes on Zoom just isn't going to do it. But with a live workshop, you're spending 1, even 2, sometimes even 3 days live in person. You are in the position of authority on stage. You're sharing your expertise. There's a lot more connection that happens. You're demonstrating your expertise. You're demonstrating that you're a worthy person to help the person. Also, just in person, once you remove that screen and now you're face to face in real life, there's a whole level of trust that gets built that you just can't do over the internet. So a typical book a call funnel, that may stretch over 30, 60 days sometimes in some environments. What we're doing with a live in-person workshop is we're compressing that sales cycle from a month, maybe 2 weeks, maybe 1 week, compressing it into 1 or 2 days. We are engineering this thing to generate massive amounts of revenue in a single day. So you're probably asking yourself right now, hey Seth, well, how do I actually create this high trust, high intent environment to help me sell more high ticket products and services in 1 or 2 days? Well, let's break this down right now. Well, the very first place we have to start, which is our step number 1, is we have to have the right promise. Because the problem I see a lot of the times whenever a client comes to us or a prospective client comes to us and they're having trouble, whether it's filling their workshop or converting at the workshop or just with the marketing of the workshop, it usually comes down to the promise that's gone askew. It's kind of gone sideways. So what I mean is with the workshop, we have to focus on solving one specific problem with one specific solution. It's not like a flagship event, a conference where we have many, many different problems that we're presenting. A workshop is solving one thing one thing only, and presenting the solution to that problem. So you have to ask yourself, for your business, maybe it's a service, maybe it's a product, whatever it is, what is the specific problem that your offer solves? And then you're going to create the workshop centered around, built around that specific problem. And that's going to be your messaging that you're going to take out into the marketplace. Hey, Mr. or Mrs. Prospect, do you have this specific problem? Well, this is how I can help you at this workshop. That's exactly how you want to break this down, because if your promise isn't dialed in, that's going to make your marketing messaging really convoluted. A lot of people won't understand. What's going to happen is you're not going to hit the people you're looking for, and you end up with the wrong people in the audience. And that's not good for anybody, because they're not going to convert to your offer down the road. So once you have your promise dialed in, and then that's going to help you with your marketing messaging, number two, we have to fill the room. Now, here's the truth about running live workshops and live events. Who is in the room matters a lot more than how many people are in the room. You could have 1,000 people in the room, but if they're the wrong fit, if they're not suited, if they're not your ideal customer for your product or service, it doesn't matter. They're just fillers. They're just bodies and pylons. So what's really, really, really important to focus on is the quality of the person that's in the room, not how many of them are there. And that's why we've had clients be successful running 100-person workshops, and we've had clients be successful running 1,000-person events and everything in between. And each one of those examples were successful because who matters more than how many. Now, how you get these people in the room is going to vary a little bit. So let me give you an example. We had a client last year who had a massive email list. We're talking hundreds of thousands of people on that email list. And this kind of goes into intent. So they had built that list through a free e-magnet. So it was an ebook they were offering, and they built this massive email list. When they decided they wanted to run a live event and they hit that list, they got nothing. They didn't sell, well, actually, maybe they sold 1 or 2 tickets, but in the grand scheme of things, they sold almost nothing from that list. And the reason is the intent of the person just dipping their toes into, hey, I'm kind of curious about this ebook, versus somebody willing to come to a live event. Very, very, very different avatars and types of people. So what we prefer to do is create our own audience for the workshop through a couple different methods. The first one is leveraging a virtual event and then parlaying that audience into a live event. So this is exactly how it looks. You're going to run your ads to your opt-in page for your live event. You're going to host the live event here online. So this is all virtual. Now, most people understand webinars. Hey, I run a webinar, I sell a product or a service. With this, we do it a little bit differently. You're not going to sell your product or service here. Your live event offer is you're going to make an offer to your workshop. As a benefit of the virtual event, especially if you're trying to tap into a cold market you're not really warm in right now, you can create that warmth through the virtual event. You're going to get a lot of throughput, a lot of opt-ins. You're going to make the offer to the workshop, and now you're going to step above. So now you're going to take those more serious people who are more qualified, who are exactly who you're looking for. You're going to take them from the internet, from the online environment, and then move them to the physical environment. Now you can spend 1 or 2 days with them and then make your high ticket offer in a much better environment rather than doing it online over a screen, which isn't going to convert as well. The other strategy we use to fill the workshop, and again, most of the time we use both of these at the same time, is you're going to run your ad to your landing page, but your ads and your landing page aren't focused on a virtual event. They're ads specific to your workshop. So you're calling out your audience, making that big promise, and then taking them directly to the landing page built for your workshop. Now, I have literally spent millions and millions of dollars advertising events, whether it's my own and helping guide our clients do the same thing. We have tested literally everything you can think of testing with this type of stuff. We can literally just give you the templates and the funnels and exactly how to do this thing. So you're going to run the ads to the landing page. And now you're going to bring people from that to your live workshop and event. So whichever one you use, again, it's better to use a combination of both, the combo. But at the end of the day, we're taking somebody from online, whether it's through your virtual event or through your ads to the landing page, and bringing them in person, which is the right environment to make that high ticket offer in. And we've had clients make a $15,000 high ticket offer. We've had clients with $50,000 products, $100,000 products. In-person workshops are built, they are designed, they are exactly what you want to use to move a large volume of high ticket products in 1 or 2 days. And one of the levers we can pull and tweak to get the right people in the audience is how we actually price your workshop. So, there's a lot of different ways you can price this stuff. Generally speaking, what we find mind is, a $4.99 price point works well. You can go $9.97, that works well. And then we can get into some more upper tier workshops and services. So you can go $14.97, $24.97, and even, $5K. And we've had some clients do a lot more than that. But this is generally the area you want to play in. And what we want to do is, the more expensive your high ticket product is, we probably want to consider moving up the value of the live workshop and charging more. Because let's say, you're running a 2-day workshop and you're charging $97, but you're selling a $50K back-end product. The person who can afford the $50K back-end product, they're going to see your $97 price tag and say, hey, this isn't for me. But if you're charging, $2,500, $5K for that 2-day workshop, that $50K buyer, they're going to see real value in it because it matches. Hey, I have this expensive problem. This is probably going to give me the solution because I'm investing in this, and I have an expectation of how good it's going to be. So one of the things we do with our clients is we really build out, hey, what's the pricing strategy? How are we going to monetize this thing? But more importantly, how do we get the right people in the right room? So once that's all figured out, now we have to build the model. So there's a couple different models we use depending on your price point, your offer, and the type of audience you want to attract. But most common is we have a 1-day model for a workshop, and we have a 2-day model, which is my preference. Why do I like the 2-day model better? Because it gives you more time to build that trust and authority with your audience. You've already got the person there. That's the hardest part, getting them in the room. Might as well give them a way better experience, give them way more content, way more value, and then also spend more time building that trust, likability, and authority so you can convert more of the room to your high ticket service or product, which your audience needs anyway to help solve their problem. So it's a win-win for everybody. So if you're running a 1-day model, what you want to do is, here's your lunch right in the middle. You're going to spend your morning covering all the pain points, the problem, what's at stake if they don't solve it. We're going to turn up that pain so everybody zeroes in and they focus, hey, this is serious stuff. I have to fix this problem. If I don't, I have all of these things that could go wrong in my business or in my life. Lunch, you hit the lunch, whatever, everybody's great, you're schmoozing. Before the afternoon break, what you're going to do is, this is where you're going to make your offer and say, hey, this isn't going to be for everybody, but we've actually built out a solution that solves this very specific problem. Is it cool if I run you guys through it? Right? You're going to ask permission, and then you're going to go into your power close, which is our closing framework for when you're speaking on stage. There's going to be other videos about that on the channel. But what you're doing is you're making your offer before the afternoon break. So if you've given yourself enough time to build up that value and all the reasons why this person needs your solution, you make the offer before the break. That gives you the entire break to talk with people. People will have questions. If you have your sales team there, they can start having those conversations with people. It makes a whole lot more sense, because the biggest problem I see all the time, especially on the first calls we have with people who come in asking for our help with their events and workshops, is they're just making their offer at the wrong time. They're making their offer at the end of the day when everybody just wants to go home. One guy was even making his offer in the parking lot at the end of day 2. That's not how you want to do it. Okay. So let's say, so that's the 1-day event. Let's say you run a 2-day event now. It's going to be the same model. You spend the morning ratcheting up the pain, what's at stake. You want to make your offer before the afternoon break. And you might be thinking, well, Seth, I've got 2 days. Why would I make it on the first day? Well, because now the cat's out of the bag. So you've made your offer. Everybody knows what your product or service is. And then there's some very specific closing techniques that we use with our clients on day 2 to make sure that we're converting and making sure your audience sees the value and knows, how you can help them. And that's what day 2 is focused on. Now, for you on stage, you're pumping the value. You are doing what you can do to help everybody in the audience, because you want them walking out of those doors with value. You want them walking out with, hey, this was really helpful. I have a lot of clarity. But day 2 on the sales side, now that the cat's out of the bag and everybody knows what your offer is, now you're looking to convert and have those conversations with people. Now, to do that, we've got a number of different strategies we use depending on the size of your event, types of buyers you have, if it's more B2B, if it's more B2C, and then how many people you actually have in the room and the size and your sales staff and all that. But here's 2 that we generally use. Like I said, we've got a number of different strategies we use depending on all those different factors. But just to give you a rough idea on generally what may work for you, number 1 is going to be the power plan. Now, the power plan is where you're sitting down with your attendees. So this would be your sales staff sitting down with your attendees on day 2, having one-on-one individual planning sessions with them based on the content of day one and the offer. So it's almost like your sales staff has the opportunity to re-pitch what you've just done. So you've done the hard work on stage, you're taking that on your shoulders, you're walking everybody through it. But now on day two, you're sitting down, figuring out a roadmap for the client based on their goals, their situation, and then your offer is just a continuation of that conversation. Now, how we get into those power plans, the exact framework on how somebody registers and gets in face-to-face, that's something we work on with our clients on a one-on-one basis, building out exactly how they make that happen. Now, the second strategy that's commonly used is called the live floor. And if you have a larger crowd, once we get into, like the 500,000 person rooms for these live workshops, live floor works really, really well because most people don't have the sales staff capacity to have one-on-one conversations with 500 people in one day, right? We've got a limiting factor there. So what we do instead is we have the live floor, and that's how we divide up the sales team into different groups and functions so they can actually go and start conversations in the audience, during breaks and lunches, before and after. And then we have another group at a designated area, and that's where the sales conversation helps. So you've got one hunting pack and then the other pack back at the booth. There's different ways we can work it depending on the size of your sales team and the size of your audience and how it's really laid out. But these two, the power plan and the live floor, work really, really, really well, especially with 2-day workshops. Now let's get into the 3 most common mistakes I see from people actually running the workshop. The number 1 mistake I see from people running live workshops is they teach too much. Now I have dealt with a ton of speakers with my own events of different skill levels and coming from different backgrounds. And it is so true, the most common mistake is people try and teach too much. They're coming from the misconception that, the more they talk, the more they deliver, the more somebody's going to want to work with them and buy from them. But it's actually the inverse is true. The less you teach, the less you give, but the more pinpoint it is. That's what drives somebody to want to work with you. And it all comes down to clarity. If I try and pack 5 different points in my talk over an hour or 2 hours, most of it's just going to go over my audience's head. They're not going to remember a single thing I taught them when they walk out the door. Why? Because I packed too much in. But if I attack that talk, that speaking slot, with one key message, one key point, and all I do is hammer on that one thing, that audience now walks out the door remembering, that is what I have to do. It gives clarity. It introduces clarity into the conversation, and that's what allows people to buy. Because when you deliver that clarity, this is the one thing I need, and then you make your offer, your high ticket product or service that gives them that one thing, it makes it a really, really easy transition. But if I go up there and I just word vomit and I'm all over the place and I'm just like giving too much, it doesn't help at all. It actually works against you. The second mistake I see all the time is we have the wrong people in the audience. So I touched on pricing a little bit, and this is what I see a lot. Okay, people will run these workshops. We actually just had a conversation last week. People run these workshops and they think, it's my first time running this workshop, or, I'm not internet famous. I need to charge $47, $97 to come to my workshop. Well, a number of problems with that. Number one, you're going to be upside down anyway, because you're going to spend more money than you're making just to sell a single ticket, especially if you're going into a cold audience. So you're already behind the 8 ball. You're digging yourself further and further and further into a hole. The second thing is, if somebody's going to pay you $47 for your workshop, well, how qualified are they? Right? You're sending the wrong signal to the qualified audience, because they're going to look at your pricing and say, hey, well, it's probably not very valuable to me. And then you're attracting the people who want something for free or almost free. And here's the truth. If you're offering something for free or almost free, guess who you attract? People who like things for free or almost free. And are they going to take you up on your offer if it's a $15K, $25K, $50K, $100K offer? No, because they want something for free or almost free. So filling the room with the right people starts with your pricing strategy. Now, with us, we see a whole lot of different events and a whole lot of different industries, different sizes, you name it. We have a really good handle on what's working and what's not working in the different niches and different groups, depending on their pricing and what they're trying to achieve. And the third biggest mistake I see all the time is pitching at the wrong time. I alluded to this a little bit before, but we've seen people making their offer at the end of day 2, and what happens? Well, everybody just wants to hop in their car and go home. You have no chance to answer questions. You have no chance to pick up the conversation later on. You have no chance to get people more information. Once they're out of the room, you've lost control of that environment. You're gone. Now you're chasing. And you don't want to end up in that position. So what we do with our clients is we actually build out the entire run of show, exactly what's going to happen when, what they want to talk about, why they want to talk about this in certain spots, and then how they make the offer at the right time to make sure they're going to have the maximum number of conversions. And it's not just about the money. It's somebody's actually devoted their time, their money, their energy into showing up. If they're looking for a solution, which they most certainly are, because solution-driven people come to live events, they're looking for a solution. And if you have the solution, but you don't present it in the right way, that's on you, especially if you can help that person and make an impact in their life. You owe it to your audience to set up your event the right way so it has maximum impact so you can help the most number of people you can. So if you're running a workshop, a live event, a conference, or if you're thinking about running a workshop, conference, live event, and you're looking for some help from somebody who's actually done it, myself, and we've helped our clients do the same thing, doing everything from 200K launches to multi-million-dollar days, I want you to click the link right down below in the description, book a call with my team. It's not a super salesy call, not high pressure. We'll just build out a game plan with you on what your next event could look like. And if it makes sense to continue working together, great. If not, we'll point you in the right direction. So click on that link, book a call, and we'll see you on the call.